Governor Greg Abbott stopped by Fort Worth this afternoon. He was here to sign some bills and also talk about what's going on in the state. Team coverage tonight. Our Jack Fink spoke with the governor about the lawsuit that the state is facing over border security, but the governor was also here to address street racing. This is some video from Austin earlier this year, and it's scenes like this that have been happening all over our state of Texas, including right here in North Texas. As Jason Allen explains, police believe these new laws will help them take the intersections back.
Smoking tires, cheering crowds, fireworks. Street takeovers have taken over the full attention of police and people worried about crimes connected to it.
These people don't care about anything but themselves.
They're teaching that this is okay. It is not okay. It is illegal, and it needs to be stopped.
Neighbors in East Fort Worth who have been lobbying police to stop the street displays were encouraged Wednesday by the ceremonial signing of two new laws with new tools for law enforcement.
But I want to make it clear, you people come into Tarrant County or into Texas now. We are going to take your car and we're going to take your freedom.
Sheriff Bill Wayborn effectively summed up the bill signed by Governor Greg Abbott. They will make it easier for police to seize cars involved in street takeovers and racing, and also to go after people who set up and promote the events on social media.
If you facilitate, if you cooperate, if you take video of it, if you upload videos of it, you're culpable of a crime come September 1st.
Police here have touted the arrests of 5 people after a street takeover event last month. But many other takeovers have happened with no one charged, or people ignoring or even confronting police. Mayor Maddie Parker said there are large cities across the country falling apart because they're not focused on public safety. And she said this issue is not a victimless crime.
You see some young kids doing donuts in the middle of the street, and you forget that at the other end of that, oftentimes lives are lost.
In Fort Worth, Jason Allen, CBS News, Texas.
Also, all new at 5 o'clock, Governor Abbott with him in town, once again vowing to take control of the border-related federal lawsuit. We talked about that against the state to the U.S. Supreme Court. Last week, the Biden administration sued the governor and the state of Texas for violating federal law when placing a buoy barrier in the Rio Grande. So as kind of part of this governor visit today, political reporter Jack Fink was there. I know you asked the governor about this as well. The focus was on the street racing thing, but this is such a huge issue. What did he have to say?
Well, Doug, as you said, I did ask the governor about this and why he thinks the courts will side with him in the state of Texas when the Biden administration cited the federal statute that the state is violating in the lawsuit. We're talking about the 1,000-foot-long buoy barrier in the state placed in the Rio Grande in the Eagle Pass area to keep migrants from crossing illegally into Texas. In its lawsuit, the Biden administration says the buoy violates the Rivers and Harbors Act, which prohibits the creation of any obstruction not approved by Congress, and the buoy barrier was not authorized by Congress. Governor Abbott said President Biden should send him a thank you note for Texas's efforts to secure the border, which has cost the state taxpayers billions of dollars. Abbott said he doesn't think the federal statute applies to the buoys.
But second, even if it does, I believe that the constitutional right of the state of Texas to secure our border and to defend our sovereignty supersedes any statute. And that is, I cannot predict what may happen in a trial court. What I can tell you for certainty is that Texas is going to take this case all the way to the United States Supreme Court.
The state has said the buoy is designed to discourage migrants from crossing the Rio Grande, which Texas DPS has said can be waist high in the Eagle Pass area. We're waiting to see if a judge requires the state to temporarily remove the buoy barrier before the case gets to trial.
And I know you asked a few other questions. What did you learn today regarding the state's investigation into that trooper's allegation that some migrants are being mistreated at the border that we've reported extensively on?
Yeah, well, you saw in Jason's story, the head of DPS was there today, Stephen McCraw. So I asked him about this, and he confirmed our reporting Friday that at least 5 different officers have concerns about what's called Operation Hold the Line at the border. The first trooper who came forward alleged that a superior officer ordered troopers to push migrants back into the Rio Grande and not give them water. A DPS spokesman has said that the word push is a verbal command to migrants, not actually physically pushing them into the water. The agency has shown troopers providing care for migrants in need. McGraw told me that anyone guilty of misconduct will be held accountable.